Hello all, welcome to MSc Microbiology course CCTP 7 Immunology. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the G protein receptor from the first unit, cell surface molecules and receptors. In the last lecture, we have discussed about the cell adhesion molecules and different type of the junctions which take place between the cells. In addition to that, we have also discussed how the cells communicate with each other in a topic cell signaling. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the cell surface receptor molecules. So, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the G protein receptor molecules. Now, these G protein cell surface receptors, they are also known as 7 transmembrane domain receptor. They are also known as serpentine receptor and G protein link receptors. So, this G protein coupled receptor or the 7 transmembrane domain receptor or the serpentine receptor, it constitutes a large protein family of receptors. Now, what is the basic mechanism of the G protein coupled receptor? So, they sense the molecules which bind to the receptor outside the cell. Then the signal transduction pathway will be activated within the cell after receiving the signal, and accordingly cellular responses will be generated within that cell. They are so named as a serpentine receptor or 7 transmembrane helices because they pass through the cell membrane 7 times. So in this case, the ligands they will bind to the receptors and they carry out the activation of the receptor. It mainly include the light sensitive compounds or the ligands may be hormones or they may be neurotransmitters. So all these ligands which act as a signaling molecule, they vary in size from small molecules to peptides or there are maybe a large proteins. Now this diagram will show the structure of this G protein coupled receptor. So here you can see this is the N-terminal side and this will be the C-terminal end of this receptor. So N-terminal will be present outside the cell where C-terminal is present inside the cell. So ligand binding will take place. Ligand binding site will be present at the N-terminal domain. As its name indicates, it consists of 7 transmembrane helices. So these are the 7 transmembrane helices which span the plasma membrane for 7 times. And it also consists of this red color will indicate the ligand binding sites, while the blue color will show the C-terminal tails of these G protein coupled receptors, and this green fluorescent color will indicate the helix binding sites. First is the rhodopsin family, secretin or glucagon receptor family, in which the peptide hormones will act as a signaling molecules. And third type is the metabotropic glutamate family, where gamma aminobutyric acid and the glutamate will act as a signaling molecules. So, G protein coupled receptor, these are the largest family of cell surface receptor and their main function is to transmit the signal to the intracellular target, and for that they require a protein which one is called as the guanine nucleotide protein. Guanine nucleotide protein can also be abbreviated as G protein, which play important role in transmission of signal to the intracellular targets. So this GPCR, that is the G-coupled receptors, it include receptor for many neurotransmitters, neuropeptides and the peptide hormones. Now, as we have discussed the different families of the G protein coupled receptor, although they are structurally and functionally related, but all of these families will consist of 7 membrane spanning alpha helices. So, in this case, the ligand it binds to the extracellular domain of these receptors. Once the ligand is bind, it induces a conformational changes so that the cytosolic domain, as we have already discussed, it consists of carboxyl and the cytosolic domain of this receptor they bind to the G protein which are associated with the inner face of the plasma membrane. So once the activation of G protein is take place, this G protein which initially associated with the receptor, they will dissociate from the receptor and they carry signal to an intracellular target. The intracellular target in GPCR it may be an enzyme or an ion channel. So let's discuss about the structure of this G protein. As you know, this G protein coupled receptor they transmit the signal by using a protein that one is known as the G protein. G protein can also be known as guanine nucleotide binding proteins. So the main function of this G protein is they help in transmitting signal which they receive in the extracellular domain and the signal will be passed to the component which are located intracellularly. So once they receive the signal, the cellular responses will be generated according to the signal. So we can say these G proteins they can act as a molecular switches. The G proteins they play important role in activation and inactivation of these receptors because of their ability to bind and to hydrolyze GTP, that is the guanosine triphosphate, to guanosine diphosphate. So there will be a conversion of GTP to GDP. When GTP is bound to this G protein, we can say the GPCR, that is the guanine G protein coupled receptor, they are present in activated form or they are on switch on, and if this GPCR G protein coupled receptor they bind to the GDP, then we can say they are present in inactivated form or they are switch off, and because of this these G proteins they can be called as the molecular switches. So it heterotrimeric G protein. Heterotrimeric means they consist of three different subunits. So this heterotrimeric G protein it consists of alpha, beta and the gamma subunit. So this beta and the gamma subunit they form a stable dimeric complex, and that complex is also known as the beta gamma complex. The alpha subunit it will bind with the guanine nucleotides. So if this alpha subunit is bind to the GDP, then we can say it is in a resting stage or it is in an inactivated stage, and it will form a complex with beta and the gamma subunit. So when a ligand or the hormone it will bind to the receptor, it will induces certain conformational changes within that receptor so that it will interact with the cytosolic domain of the G protein. Now, when receptor is bind on the extracellular side with the receptor, conformational changes will carried out within that receptor. So it will show its influence on the activity of G protein. Initially, this G protein is bind with the GDP. So when it is bind with the GDP, we can say it is present in a inactivated form. But after binding of the ligand, GDP will be displaces or alpha subunit is dissociated, and instead of GDP it will bind with the GTP. So there will be a replacement or the exchange of GDP for the GTP. Now once this alpha subunit is bind to the GTP, then it will be dissociated from the beta and the gamma subunit. Initially when alpha subunit is bind with the GDP, it form a association with the beta and the gamma subunit, but once the GTP alpha subunit is bind to the GTP, it will be dissociated from the beta and the gamma subunit. Now, beta and the gamma subunit they remain associated with each other, and they are function as beta and the gamma complex. So, once the alpha subunit is bind to the GTP and the second complex, that is the beta and the gamma complex. Now these two complex will form after binding of the ligand, and this will interact with the target so to generate the cellular response. The activity of this alpha subunit, as how we can say activity, because this alpha subunit is now bind with the GTP. So bind its activity will be terminated by hydrolysis of the bound GTP, and inactive alpha subunit again it will bind with the GDP, which is associated with the beta and the gamma complex to initiate next cycle. The mammalion's genome it encodes for at least 20 different alpha, 6 different beta, and 12 different gamma subunits. So, different G proteins they are associated with the different receptor, and they will show a different cellular responses will be generated. For example, if G protein, if it is associated with the epinephrine receptor, if it is associated with the epinephrine receptor, then that G protein will be called as GS. And its alpha subunit, its main function is to stimulate the adenylyl cyclase. Now, what is the main function of this adenylyl cyclase? It will act on the ATP and it helps in generation of cyclic AMP from the ATP. The substrate for adenylyl cyclase was the ATP, so it will remove 2-phosphate group and it results in the formation of cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP is an important secondary messenger, and it will involve in large number of intracellular responses which are generated by a particular G protein receptor when they bind to a particular G protein. In addition to this, these subunits of G protein coupled receptors or the G protein, that is the alpha, beta and gamma subunit, they also regulate the ion channels, and according to that the cellular responses will be generated. For example, in the case of neurotransmitters, so the activity of this neurotransmitter when they bind to the receptor ion channels will play important role because there will be change in the flux of ion and it will show its effect on the heart and skeletal muscles. When a particular G protein receptor will the particular G protein receptor act on the heart muscle cell. That one is called as the acetylcholine receptor and it can be abbreviated as GI. Its main function is to inhibit the activity of adenylyl cyclase. Now this GI, I stand for the inhibitory. So this G protein inhibitory beta and the gamma subunit. Their main function is to open the K plus channel in the plasma membrane, and once large number of or more number of K plus ions are present, it will carry out the contraction of heart muscle. These G proteins, which are located within the cell, they are mainly activated by the G protein coupled receptors that span the membrane. Now, this G protein, they when they are present in inactivated form, they bind to GDP, and when they bind with the GTP, they are getting converted into the activated form. So, when ligand will bind to the G protein coupled receptor, we can say the receptor is getting activated, it changes its shape so that we can say conformational changes will take place within the receptor and it allows the binding of this G protein to the active form of the GTP. So GTP will be displaces by the GDP and activation of the G protein will take place. Now this G protein which is now activated, it migrates along the cell membrane until it binds to the adenylyl cyclase. So this main function of this adenylyl cyclase is to convert ATP to cyclic AMP. So this cyclic AMP, it is responsible for generation of cellular responses because it acts as a secondary messenger. Cyclic AMP will act as a secondary messenger. So when the G protein it will bind to the GTP. We can say it can function as a GTPase as it hydrolyzes the bound GTP and its phosphate group will fall off and it leads to the generation of GDP after loss of one phosphate group. So when GTP will be replaced by the GDP, inactivation of the G protein will take place and they are ready for the next cycle. So this diagram will show the functioning of G protein coupled receptor. Okay, here you can see this is your G protein coupled receptor. It is also known as the serpentine receptor as it spans the plasma membrane for 7 times. Here you can see it is present in the resting state. Why it is to be present in the resting state? Because this microplasmic G protein which consists of three different subunits alpha, beta and the gamma. Now here it is bound with the GDP and therefore it is also known as the resting or GDP bound state. Once the ligand will bind, what will happen? It will be responsible for nucleotide exchange. Nucleotide exchange means the replacement of GDP with that of the GTP. So let's see what kind of a changes will take place after binding of the ligand. So once this ligand will bind to the receptor, it will produces certain changes within this receptor.
protein which is present on the cytosolic domain. So after carrying particle, this dissociation of the alpha subunit from that of the GDP will take place. In addition to that, initially it is bound with the beta and the gamma subunit. After the dissociation of GDP, beta and the gamma subunit, they are also dissociated from the alpha subunit of the G protein after binding of the neuron. Now, if GDP is dissociated, then to which compound these alpha subunits are now bound from the association, it mainly bonding with the GTP molecule. So, after dissociation of the alpha subunit from that of the GDP and the beta and the gamma subunit, now two complexes will be formed. First complex is the G protein alpha subunit which is associated with the GTP, and the second complex, it is the beta and the gamma complex. These two subunits are also dissociated from the alpha subunit and the separate complex will be formed. Now both of these complex have the ability to show their effect on the target protein. It may be an enzyme or it may be a particular organ, and several responses will be generated. So when this protein is bound to that of the GTP, we can say it is present in an activated state. So after generation of a particular signaling molecule, what will happen? Then inactivation of this G protein will take place to stop the signaling responses which were generated by that particular cell. So here you can see the GTPase enzyme, it play important role. GTPase, as its name indicates, it is belong to the class of hydrolysis. So the main function of this, it is elimination of the phosphate group from that of GTP. So here once this GTPase get activated, it will carry out the hydrolysis of the GTP. Initially, GTP will consist of three phosphate groups. After hydrolysis, one of the phosphate group will be removed and GTP will get converted into the GTP. In addition to that, it will also dissociated from the receptor. Okay, and in the last step, after dissociation of this GTP or hydrolysis of the GTP, GDP will form and the G protein coupled receptor again will converted into resting state or inactivated form and will bind to the GDP. In addition to association of GDP and the G protein alpha receptor alpha protein, this beta and the gamma subunits of the G protein will again be associated with the alpha subunit. So this is the resting state of the G protein coupled receptor, and now they are ready for the next cycle. So in 1917, this G protein coupled receptor was discovered by scientist Martin Rothe.
He discovered the hormonal stimulation of this adenyl cyclase. So for this he made the use of epinephrine, and it will influence on the formation of cyclic AMP. So he discovered that the G protein is an intermediary in an adenyl cyclase activation. So this epinephrine, it regulates the synthesis of cyclic AMP. As you know, cyclic AMP is an important second messenger which are responsible for the generation of cellular responses. Now, three different families of G protein coupled receptor. One of the most important family is rhodopsin receptor family. It is a type of G protein coupled receptor, and they are extremely sensitive to the light. The main function of this rhodopsin receptor family is to activate the transducin G protein. Now, once this G protein is get activated, it will activate the transduction pathway. Next family is the secretin receptor family. So this secretin receptor family, it includes different intestinal peptide receptor. For this receptor, secretin, calcitonin, parathyroid hormones or the peptides, they may act as a ligands and they will induce some of the changes. Once this ligand will bind to this vasoactive intestinal peptide receptor, their main function is to activate the adenylyl cyclase. Now, in case of secretin receptor family, this adenylyl cyclase it mainly involved in the phosphatidylinositol calcium pathway. Third type of the G protein receptor family is the metabotropic glutamate family. Now, this metabotropic glutamate family G protein couple receptor, they are mainly involved in transmission of synapses and excitability of the neurons, and they are distributed throughout the central nervous system. Three groups of this metabotropic glutamate family are discovered, and their classification will based on their intracellular signaling mechanism. So, if we see the group 1, they are mainly involved in the calcium signaling. Group 1 metabotropic glutamate family receptor, they are involved in intracellular calcium signaling and they are coupled to the phospholipase 6. The group 3 and the group 2 and the group 3 receptors, they are negatively coupled to adenylyl cyclase, that is they inhibit the formation of cyclic AMP by negatively acting on the enzyme adenylyl cyclase. These components or receptors, they are widely distributed throughout the mammalian brain, and high level of this receptor will be present in the cerebellum and the thalamus. These are the references. Thank you.